Welcome on into Athletes Unplugged. This is the show that goes beyond the game. We let loose, we have fun, but most importantly, we find out what makes the biggest names in sports the biggest superheroes in the world. This is Athletes Unplugged. We are so thrilled now to be able to welcome in someone that you all know very well, two-time Olympic medalist, recently inducted into the National Softball Hall of Fame, baseball analyst on ESPN, and a board advisory member of Athletes Unlimited, Jess Mendoza. How are you doing? How are you holding up in quarantine right now?
Good. Obviously you don't want the circumstances that cause this, but this great pause that we have right now has been actually kind of nice. Just that merge of work, home. Like I like that. I feel like for me, someone who travels to do a lot of the work with ESPN, a lot of things I do, there really is a separation. But to now have it all be together, I'm doing studio work. I could be on SportsCenter. The kids are right the next week. It's actually been kind of nice to have it all meshed together and have time to really appreciate a lot of things.
Awesome. Okay. We're going to do a quick rapid fire. We saw the Michael Jordan documentary come to a close, and it was great to be able to watch it. It meant a lot during quarantine time. For you, who do you think would be a great female athlete to have a 10-part series
on? Serena Williams. And there's a ton, by the way. I mean, I would, Megan Rapinoe, Sue Bird. I mean, those two together. I mean, I have a list that's longer than you can imagine. I'm just why do we not know more about these great athletes?
If you were not a former softball player and baseball analyst, what would you do with your life?
Probably politician. I know that's what I came out of Stanford. I know. Got my master's degree in social sciences and education, worked on educational reform. I feel like I would have done that, I know for sure, straight out of college had I not made the Olympic team. That was my plan. Like I was heck bent on DC, and I'm going to figure out a way to make positive change.
And who was your inspiration in that realm?
It's interesting. Billie Jean King, even though she's not a politician clearly, but yet I feel like really created legislation. I mean, Title IX, it was her backing her, obviously getting, using her celebrity to be able to create that change back in the 70s.
That's great. And you talk about Megan Rapinoe, maybe you guys would be 2024 Mendoza Rapinoe, because I know she's been very vocal in the political sphere.
That would be awesome, by the way. Sorry. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Signing up for that.
Yes. Okay, great. Mendoza Rapinoe 2024. Let's go.
Let's go.
Okay, so one last meal on Earth, what would it be?
My dad's huevos rancheros, for sure.
Ooh, that sounds very tasty.
Homemade chile verde. It's basically the next day with poached eggs in it and warm tortillas. Done.
Love it. If you could be any celebrity, who would you be?
Wow. Any celebrity. Oh my gosh. Actually, you know what? Stevie Nicks.
Awesome. Okay. One pump up song that you could ever have for the rest of your life, what would it be?
So Stanford's fight song, All Right Now, which is actually like a song, like a real song, and I'm totally blanking on who sings it, which is not good, but it's like, all
right now.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know, it goes back to, I will defer to you. Like, so Julie.
I'm really glad that I just sang that thing. But yeah, everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Melody, right? Okay.
And there's a part in it that we used to do with the Stanford band, like, football games. And it's like when they're just totally jamming during that song. Next time you hear it, you'll notice like 3/4 of the way through and they're just like full guitar jam. And then there's like a pause and it's 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we all jump and scream and yell in the air. And I don't know.
And college marching bands playing good old classic rock jams is second to none, right?
Google Stanford band, and you'll see that our marching band is like none other. They definitely march to the beat of their own drum.
I love that, and lots of band nerds do, and that's why we love them, and they bring us all that energy and all those games, which we hope to see soon. Thinking of things that are a little bit different, you've been doing the Korean Baseball League games, which has been a welcome opportunity for fans to see baseball again.
but it's been in the middle of the night, as you mentioned. So take me through what it's been like broadcasting that league, and almost like what you found is interesting and different that perhaps we could even adopt over here in the States.
I mean, from the baseball standpoint, it's a really cool mesh between Japanese baseball and American baseball. I played in Japan a lot throughout my own career, and very familiar with their style of play. For example, there's no ties, or it's a tie game after 12 innings. So they're not going to allow these games to go long into the night.
Okay.
I'm sure you've been a part of, like, seeing so many.
A West Coast baseball game going
Yes,
extras
exactly.
is not ideal.
Just all kinds of, the bat flips are what they're famous for. A lot of their players are understanding of the fact that this is also a fan-engaged game. And the more that you can engage the fans and do something where I just crushed a ball, so I'm going to share this with the people around me, is something that I've noticed that they've really embraced, and have fun with it, showing emotion, showing that, how they feel and the way to engage. And the one thing we are missing right now is the fans. From what I understand, South Korean baseball is built on fans. And we're talking, Julie, when I say fans, I mean, we understand fans here, but so you get a batter that's walking up, they choreograph and come up with a song for every batter. And this is the fans. This isn't the team.
I love that.
And they're on their feet. So you're talking 20,000 fans on their feet doing some, it might be something like this. It could be all over the place. And, kind of turn your mind to Gangnam Style, like the song, K-pop,
yes.
That's what you're getting, right? Full-fledged 20,000 fans singing as someone is walking up to bat. And so they're completely engaged. They have fun with it. And because it's a newer league, they try different things. They're not set in the traditions of baseball, which, I appreciate, but I also feel like our game of baseball can continue to grow and expand to reach younger audiences. And I feel like South Korea does that.
Yeah, definitely. I know, because America's pastime is always sort of, this is how it's always been done. This is what we expect. Thinking of things that are a little bit different, we've got Athletes Unlimited, and you're on the advisory board, which is just huge for when you're getting a league going, being able to see people that have done so much for the sport of softball and, of course, have a huge voice in baseball. What, sort of originally attracted you to being involved? How did the idea come to fruition?
It actually first came to me from Angela Ruggiero, who's a close friend of mine, U.S. hockey team captain. I mean, her list, she's written books. She's, been on The Apprentice. I mean, there's so much that she's done. Very business savvy as well. And she just gave me a call. And, I think a lot of times as athletes, you get approached by all these different ideas and what people want to do. And more times than not, everyone's heart is in the right place. Mm-hmm. My question, especially when it comes to women's sports, Julie, is where's the business plan? What, just understanding that, you're not the first to want to grow something and understand that it can be bigger than what it is. But there's an entire approach that needs to happen that a lot of times has been a huge miss in the past. That there's always the passion, there's always, the want. But unfortunately, that's not what's going to take it to the next level. And so when the introduction was made to Athletes Unlimited through her, I knew already that it was going to be through the right door. So this came, and it was just completely different mindset, bringing in a whole slew of other athletes as well. That I was blown away by, and just knew this is going to be something really different.
How do you see something like this changing the landscape of how we view women's professional sports, and even to the point of influencing a whole new generation of women who think that, hey, I can make money and do this for my life?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like for fans, they're able to engage with the athlete in a way that they won't have with any athlete in the past. And I think the benefit of Athletes Unlimited is you're not dealing with Major League Baseball or the NHL, all these pro leagues that have been there, NBA, where they have their set of rules. And it's very, decades and decades of we do things a certain way. And, they're successful. So it's awesome, you do your thing. But as far as engaging, to me, I hate saying the younger fan, but the fan that wants to view sports through a different lens. And that could be someone that is 60 years old. It could be any age.
Right.
But I think we have to start thinking about how we're all, digesting our sports, and honestly, news, information, everything. First of all, it's right here, on a tablet, on your phone. It's engagement. They don't want just a one-way 3-hour game being told to them in a story format. You know, they want to engage with it. And to me, that's where not only are we going to reach more fans, but more importantly, they're going to get a better understanding of who these athletes are.
Mm-hmm.
And as female athletes, I feel like we're the ones that have more to tell. Like,
right. It's true.
We don't get bombarded by the media and asked a lot of questions. And in this case, through social media, through their own platforms, through Athletes Unlimited, they can tell their own stories. This is who I am. This is what makes me unique. I just feel like it's going to be able to engage fans in a way that I've always wanted them to understand the female athlete. And now they'll finally get a chance to do that.
But for this, it's, you know, such a great platform for people. And the idea of the interaction is really cool. So that, like, you could be 8 years old and scoring a game, or as you mentioned, like 60 years old and figuring this out. And you want more from a league. Like, it's so cool to be at this point in the world and in media and being able to create something new. You've got all these different things. You can draft your own team. You have individual points. You still have team points. What kind of gamesmanship from your perspective? Like, let's just say Jessica Mendoza is going to be playing Athletes Unlimited in softball. What would sort of pique your interest of, like, ooh, maybe how would I deal with that aspect to get the most out of it for myself?
It's interesting because there is an individualized component to winning, you know, but I'm still never going to win if my team doesn't win.
Right.
But I do feel like, and this is where a lot of times we get lost in a team sport, especially if you're not a pitcher, right? Because the pitcher, you're seeing them primarily through the game.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't get that one big hit, you know, I play outfield. So a lot of times, like, camera time, right? You're not going to see us outfielders very much. So there's this, like, unique way of, like, how can I stand out? How can I also create my own brand and my own self within the game, with the number one still being, I still want to win. So I still want to be a good teammate. I want to help my team, even though next week I could be on a different team.
Right.
I love that, because isn't that more life, right? I mean, when even you're in a workplace, like, you could be dealing with very different groups, very different people that you're trying to constantly mesh your own self, your own leadership, your own team contributions to. And it's not just something that, okay, I'm one of 18 and this is us, and we know what we've got for the next few years. It's very much more realistic to what life is like, and the fact that I also want to allow myself to stand out in a team setting that normally I wouldn't have the opportunity to do so.
Right. That is a great analogy, because that reminds you, you know, you're only as good as the sum of your parts, right? Like, you got to be able to make sure everything's working, even if you're really good, that the team is just number one if you're going to be able to win and get the most points. Now, Jess, sort of more about yourself. You have been a baseball analyst for ESPN. You were the first ever color commentator that was a woman on a Major League Baseball game for ESPN. Just a huge pillar of empowerment for athletes who want to be analysts, for female broadcasters who want to be able to take on a very male-dominated position. What advice would you give someone who would want to follow in your footsteps?
Staying, I think, true to the person that you are and not get caught up in what everyone else says. And, you know, it's interesting, you know, being in a male sport, in a kind of male dominated field, is that my gender never before in my life had been pointed out so much. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you can get caught up in that. Like, you feel like you walk in a room and you're like, hey, everyone, you're like the mascot female, like, hello, I'm the female. Like, hello, everybody, you know, and I would get more self-conscious of the things that make me female, and, you know, and instead of just being me, of, hey, I want to come in, I want to call a baseball game. Like, can we just talk mic drop? Can we talk shop? Can we get hitting? Can we get into spin rates? Like, let's just go. And those distractions have never been louder. And yet I've never had to really figure out more of who I am. You know, really understand, you know, do I deserve to be here? Am I somebody that, yes, I didn't play Major League Baseball, played softball at a high level, but is my voice, should it be heard? And yeah, I'm different. And yeah, I don't have the same background as everyone else, but don't we kind of want that? I'm okay that I'm not for everybody, you know, but the thing is, I'm not here for everyone. I'm here because I have a passion for the game and it's something I really want to do. But it took time to kind of get there. And so I feel like my biggest advice is to really hone in on the things that you believe are true to who you are, and not get caught up, because there will be distractions, especially when you're doing something that isn't the norm. Like any kind of change, there's always resistance. So how are you going to handle that resistance? You know, some people want to fight it, come at it, punch it in the face, you know,
Yeah.
Others want to ignore it. I just feel like at some point you have to address it.
Man, I just want to run through a wall right now after that. That was great. Yeah,
it took some self-reflection, and honestly, it took me some time to really figure out like why I was there and get that confidence to be like, I can take this on. Like, I got this.
Yeah. Actually, sort of when you said that reminds me of, if you've seen the movie La La Land, when Emma Stone is like, maybe I'm just not supposed to be doing this, like about acting. She's just like crying, like, maybe I'm not good enough. And we've had those moments because we do, you know, it's hard to block out the noise. And especially if you're on a national platform like that and you are in a role that has been traditionally male across every sport, that it's hard not to think that, like, question yourself. But then, as I think also being an athlete and the mental side of what you've already had to deal with in so many stressful situations has probably got to help. And so many women in every industry and athletes have had to deal with this, whereas dudes would have no idea. But someday they will. They'll find out what it's like to be on the other side as we start to take over the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We did already.
Yeah, I know. We're almost there, you know, we're getting there. This is certainly helping. Jess, thank you so much for your time. We really look forward to seeing how Athletes Unlimited unfolds and getting to know some incredible athletes. So we appreciate it. Stay safe and keep on rocking.
Thank you, Julie.
Want to be featured on Athletes Unplugged? Share with us one of your favorite memories from playing sports and tag us on all social channels at AU Pro Sports. And remember to like, follow, and subscribe. Till then, be unlimited.